Let's take a look at just a few of the actions that you can take within Florian. So if we open up our tool tray down at the bottom, we're going to notice there's 3 separate actions that you can take. We have create an area, create a structure, or create a scribble. Let's start with a scribble just because that's the simplest. So a scribble really is any way to notate or mark the map, and it'll actually stick to that map in 3D space. So let's say we have our structure here and we want to go ahead and lay out our alpha through the delta sides of the structure. So all I do is I go down here to the scribble button, I can click, and if we look, we can see that we can name it, we can set the color, or we can draw. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Microsoft pen and I'm going to mark out the alpha, the Bravo, the Charlie, and the delta sides of the structure. I'm going to name it sides, then I'm going to save it. And as we see, those stick directly to the map. So it's a very, very useful function. Really, we can use this for any sort of notations that we want to make on the map. If we want to go ahead and we want to create maybe some sort of a reference point, arrows, and save those, we can do that. We also can just undo that very, very quickly. It's a really quick and effective feature. Now, if we move on to the area action, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that. And we're going to see it's going to give us a few more options here. So we can go ahead and we can create the name. We can choose a specific type of throw. We have 3 different levels of throws for that. It's a critical life alert, a warning, or a passive notice. And also a timer associated with that. We once again get our color, draw functions, but we also add a touch function as well. Because areas normally will be in some sort of a geometric shape, we allow a touch function to just make it that much simpler. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Microsoft pen again, and I'm going to touch 4 points on the map. And let's say that this is our collapse zone. We don't want anybody to go within that zone. So now that we have our 4 points drawn out, I'm going to go ahead and name this collapse. And I'm going to say, I want a 0-minute timer on this, and I want to make it a critical life alert. Anytime somebody moves within this zone, I want to be alerted immediately. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now we're going to see, I'm going to take our engine 37 here. Let's see, let's take Jamie and let's move them. Now watch the change that happens. As soon as I save this, watch how her status along the right-hand side changes. I'm going to give a click to move her there. Now this shows that critical life alert that we were speaking of. So the area tool is a very, very powerful action that you can take, and it can be used in a multitude of ways. We really just want to give the fire department tools that they can be resourceful or creative with. Another really powerful feature of the areas tool is actually what we like to call our EVAC. So if I go ahead and I click on the area button again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw this time, and I'm going to take our Microsoft pen, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark out an area along these roads. Now what this does is this allows us to geofence a specific area and send an evacuation or a shelter-in-place alert. So I'm going to name this EVAC. I'm going to hide my camera real quick. So I've named that EVAC, and I'm going to save it. Now if I click back into that EVAC, you see this evacuate button becomes ungrayed out. I can click that, and it gives me 2 different options. I can either evacuate or I can shelter in place. So it's very, very useful in terms of any sort of emergency mitigation or if a large-scale natural disaster. So we utilize the IPAWS, or better known as the Amber Alert system, in order to execute this. And once again, we have 2 options, evacuate or shelter in place. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel so I don't send out an evacuation to the folks in Niagara Falls here. So we'll just cancel that. We'll go back out, and that's another really, really powerful feature. So I'm just going to delete that so it doesn't take up too much space on our map here. So moving on to the third and final action that we can take on our map is a structure. This is really just see how we have the buildings that are represented here. Say if I can find, let me see if I can find a building that is not represented through 3D. Okay, so we have this structure here. It's a circle. This is going to be an interesting one. So we go ahead and actually I'll keep the satellite mode pulled up. I'm going to open up that structure action, and I'm just going to begin to drop points around this building. Okay. So what I'm doing is, again, it creates these kind of waypoints, and because this building is circular, it's not going to be absolutely perfectly circular, but we can get fairly accurate with it. So we once again have the option to change the color. I'm going to change that to black so that it represents the structure, and the height. This is in meters. So if I want it to be, say if the building is 30 feet tall, 10 meters. And we also have our touch and our draw functions. So I'm going to name this circle structure. And I'm going to save that. And now we're going to see how that actually sticks to the map. So let's go back into our terrain or operational view. So as we see, the building or the structure sticks directly to the map. We can move around, we can orbit it. It just gives us another reference point. So those are 3 different actions that you can take within Florian: the area, the structure, and the scribble action. Thank you very much for your time, and stay safe.